Hello, everyone. Welcome on Facebook Live, Spreaker.com, Kevole, Soundcloud.com, Kevole. Follow me on YouTube, Kevin Olenick, Twitter, Kevole, Instagram, Kevole, and Patreon, Kevole, YouTube, Kevin Olenick. To be honest with you, I'm a little hesitant to bring this topic up because I don't mind bringing up hot button issues, and I don't bring up hot button topics, but sometimes it can get a little testy. I'm a little hesitant with this one, but I think it's still an important conversation. Because sometimes we can come up with, especially when men talk about this, they're coming across mansplaining or anything. At the end of this, there's a question. I'm going to read some perspectives about this from both sides and kind of I want to hear where people are at with the story involving a girl that has been called in the article named Grace and actor Aziz Ansari. And you may have heard of this. This story came out on Friday. It was in a blog, and I'll read article in it, part of the article in it. We'll post that later if you've missed it. It's entirely possible, but it's been a conversation here. So I'm just going to read a portion of the claim or the perspective, and then I'm going to also read two different perspectives of that as we go forward. So this might feel a little bit boring, but I want to kind of unpack this a bit and give you share. I'm just going to talk. When her plane landed back in New York the next day, she already had a message from him. They exchanged flirtatious banter over text for a week or so before he asked her to go out with him on Monday, September 25th. The date did not go as planned. The night would end with Grace in an Uber home in tears, messaging her friends about how Ansari behaved. Babe spoke to the first friend she told about it and reviewed the messages on her phone. The day after the incident, by the way, Babe is the article that this was posted on. The day after the incident, she wrote a long text to Ansari saying, "I just want you to take this moment to make you aware of your behavior and how uneasy it made me." To that message, Ansari responds, "Clearly, I misread things in the moment, and I'm truly sorry." Now, from reading this seemed like kind of a date. One thing led to another. They went to Ansari's house, and I'm going to read a little bit more. It's going to get a little graphic. I'm going to word this to you. Whether Ansari didn't notice Grace's reticence or knowingly ignored it is impossible for her to say. Quote, "I know I was physically giving off cues that I wasn't interested. I don't think that was noticed at all, or if it was ignored." Ansari wanted to have sex. She said that she remembers him asking again and again, "Where do you want me to bloop you?" while she was seated on the. "Where do you want me to fuck you?" while she was seated on the countertop. She says she found the question tough to answer because she says she didn't want to fuck him at all. I wasn't even really thinking that. I didn't want to be engaged in that with him, but he kept asking, so I said, "Next time." And he goes, "Oh, you mean a second date?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, sure." And he goes, "Well, if I poured you another glass of wine, would it count as our second date?" He then poured out a glass and handed it to her. She excused herself to the bathroom soon after. This moment is particularly significant for Grace because she thought that it would be the end of a sexual encounter. Her remark about not wanting to feel forced had added a verbal component to the cues she was trying to give him about her discomfort. When she sat down on her floor next to Ansari, who sat on the couch, she thought he might rub her back or play with her hair, something to calm her down. Ansari instructed her to turn around. He sat back and pointed to his penis and motioned for me to go down on him, and I did. I think I just felt really pressured. It was really the most unexpected thing I thought would happen at that moment because I told him I was uncomfortable. Now, there's more to it. I'm just reading a portion of it, and there's a lot of conversation about what happened here. So I'm going to read a couple of different opinions about this that I've heard, and then I'm going to get into. So bear with me here. Here's an article. This was written by Barry Weiss. This was posted on January 15th. You probably have seen this. This was titled, Ansari is guilty of not reading her mind. This is one perspective. I'm a proud feminist, and this is what I thought while reading Grace's story. If you were hanging out naked with a man, it's safe to assume he's going to try to have sex with you. If the inability to choose a Pinot Noir over Pinot Gringo offends you, you can leave right then and there. If you don't like the way your date hustles through paying the check, you can say, I've had a lovely evening and I'm going home now. If you go home with him and discover he's a terrible kisser, say, I'm out. If you start to hook up with him and don't like the way he smells or the way he talks or doesn't talk, end it. If he pressures you to do something you don't want to do, use a 4-letter word, stand up in your 2 legs, and walk out his door. Aziz Ansari sounds like he was aggressive and selfish and obnoxious that night. And she goes on to say a little bit more. That's one side of it. Here's another perspective that I read. And this was written from a Facebook person named Anna Giovanno. Don't know her. I've never met her. And I'll share her entire post as well as part of the comments and some of the things. But here's some of it. Who created the bullshit? Aziz did. And she does this in 3, she does her writing in 3 different things. So it created the bullshit. 1, Aziz did. 2, Aziz did. 3, Aziz did. Going on a date with someone we're interested in as a potential sexual partner does not equal consent to be raped or otherwise assaulted. 1. Going on a date with someone we're interested in as a potential sexual partner does not equal consent to be raped or otherwise assaulted. 2. Flirting over the phone with Aziz Ansari does not mean giving up your sexual agency to Aziz Ansari. 3. Going to dinner with Aziz Ansari does not mean giving up your rights as a human being to Aziz Ansari. Going to a man's house. 4. Going to a man's house does not mean we, collectively, as a society, all agree that this man should get to do whatever he wants to your body. 5. Engaging in some sexual activity with a man, whether it's first date or your 50th anniversary, does not mean that this man now owes your orifices and can do whatever he wants with them, whenever he wants with them, for as long as he wants. Now, there's some really important perspectives and themes here, and I think there's really a lot to unpack. And going to be honest with you, I don't know what to think here. I'm still in this moment here where I feel like I need to listen a little bit more and want to hear more, and that's why I'm bringing this forward as part of, because I want to hear what you have to say. And there's a lot to unpack here. We have themes like consent, enthusiastic consent, yes and no, verbal and non-verbal communication, and connection, enthusiastic connection. At the very least, this is certainly a very bad experience, and it was her experience, and I'm not going to dismay that, downplay that, or anything like that. I know some people have been angry at her for sharing this story. I'm not going to do that. That's not my place. At the same time, and you certainly don't have to be a fan of him, but we are dealing with people's profession here. Aziz Ansari is a very creative person, doing some interesting work. Some people like what he's done, some people do not, but certainly with the recent stories that have come out, this story is going to impact his career going forward. Katie Way, the writer of the article, and the article this presented it, also is impacted by sharing this story, so their reputation is also on the line. And whoever Grace is sharing her story as well. She's taking some heat, whoever we know her is. So when we talk and listen and think about this, I do think it's a tough topic with some very important, very emotional for many reasons. I think people have dealt with this in a very personal way, like people deal with this obviously have dealt with this in so many ways. And it impacts people in many different ways. Excuse me. My question is, and forgive the wording, because you may not agree with it, because I do feel like we're dealing, feels like in some areas we're dealing with some gray area or some question. I want to be careful how we do that, but what is some things that we can learn from this? Is there an impact about how we have this conversation going forward? Is it for you pretty cut and dry what happened, or is there stuff like this that makes you kind of think about your behavior or encounters that you've had, or even as men, what are you thinking about this? I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are about this. What do you think about what has happened here, and what can we as humans learn from this conversation. I'm curious what you think. I'm still in to be honest with you, as I said a little bit earlier, I still am in listening mode. I would like to hear a little bit more about this and kind of just rest on this one a bit, because I do see both. I think both sides. It feels like both sides are right in a weird way, but I'm kind of curious what you think. So let me know what you think. Before we go, we'll close what the comments are on Facebook. I'm going to post the other stuff on there as well before we go. Thanks for checking this out. Whoever did, if there's any comments, and there's not. Looks like there's not. That's okay. We've got lots of other things going on. So let me know what you think, what your opinion are. Facebook.com, Kevin Olenick. Follow me on Twitter, KEVOLE. Spreaker.com. Soundcloud.com, and KEVOLE, and YouTube, Kevin Olenick. Well, so let me know what you think. We will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching this. So it's a little later than usual, but that's okay. We will talk soon. Bye for now.